Hi guys, this is Ed from Esoteric Detective. I've got Bob Kiviat here from Alien Chaser, a 20-year veteran of the Esoteric who has made a plethora of shows and specials on UFOs and all kinds of paranormal phenomenon. And today he's here and he's got something really cool he's going to share with us. And I wanted to be involved, a breaking news report regarding Bob's further research into all kinds of things. Let's begin with his research into the Mandela Effect and his personal experience with new information he has just discovered with the JFK assassination. I wanted to update you guys. So what's going on with the Mandela Effect, Bob?
As a JFK researcher, producer guy who's made at least one major documentary on JFK, something has frickin' changed. There is no doubt about it. There are two main issues right now that I cannot get out of my head. Number one, out of nowhere, I've never heard of it before. Many other people I know never heard about it before. Apparently there is another version of the Zapruder film coming out of France, which is so sharp, shows the end of the actual event where the limousine goes under the basic like little bridge they have to go under. And all I could say is that I never saw that ending to the Zapruder film. And there are aspects to that Zapruder film, which just, that version of it, which just seems so foreign to me. And we're going to get into that version of it, the French version. Yeah, that's right. A French version of the Zapruder film. Let's start right there. That's one Mandela effect on its own right there. How could that film exist? I've been looking at finding the sharpest quality of Zapruder film to do any investigation for television or film or anything I would do. So I'm freaked out to find out there is another version of the Zapruder film, sharp, apparently not processed the same way as the one that's done here in America to bring it to the high digital form. So let's leave that alone for a minute. The other Mandela effect I'm having that, and when I say Mandela effect, I mean I don't remember it being on this timeline. Apparently in 1987, the research began into what appears to be evidence that the Zapruder film was doctored physically right after the assassination by the CIA in one of their film areas, one of their film, call it the film, an analytical area of the CIA. And apparently the research that began in 1987 has led now to forensic evidence that frames that show President Kennedy's head exploding have been now in some way covered up using a technique involving a very, very rudimentary animation process that was available in 1963 to literally black out the back of John Kennedy's head on many frames so that you never see the gaping hole that 50 people at Parkland Hospital said they saw, essentially Kennedy's head blown out, the entire back of the head, which you clearly don't see happening on the Zapruder film. You see on the Zapruder film what looks like a wound to the side of the head, a flap, if you will. And if you look at the actual autopsy photos of JFK, they somehow put back the back of his head that allegedly is missing. There are people that were involved in the analysis for the CIA that have been interviewed. One main guy. He's adamant now that the film that we all know as the Zapruder film is not the film he saw, because the film he saw showed what appeared to be a huge puff of whitish material that exploded above JFK's head, filling up the entire area above his head. Not just a little puff of pinkness or stuff like that, which is pretty gory, but I'm talking about an explosion of white matter material, which makes sense because the Parkland Hospital people that saw JFK and worked on him for 40 minutes before he died all claimed the back of his head was gone. Gone! Bone matter gone, scalp gone. There was no way you could peel back the back of his head and hold it there as if there was one little bullet hole from an entrance wound back here, allegedly. That it is so important now what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is on this timeline, there now is apparently irrefutable evidence that the film was doctored. Now, my understanding is that the individuals that did the research brought heavy hitters from Hollywood in to analyze what would be actually a negative, a direct negative of the film that was made into a 35 millimeter next step. So they're analyzing something very, very resolute, very, very, very close to the original, and they're analyzing it in ways that I don't think 1963 technology would have anticipated. You know, they're not going to anticipate in the future they're going to have digital, you know, communications and graphics and everything else. So, bottom line, the Mandela effect that I'm experiencing should probably wake up every JFK researcher in the world right now to the fact that there's a French film available now showing the assassination, at least if you want to see that version of it in the Zapruder film, in another way, a little sharper and weirdly showing a little bit more detail in some ways. And then the evidence that the actual Zapruder film that we have in our archives right now, that we all point to at the Sixth Floor Museum at Dilly Plaza, that film has been altered. But why this floors me so much is that I would have been looking for that material. I would have wanted like brand new material to bring to bear in the 2010 documentary I did called I Shot JFK. And so now we have something extremely, extremely strange that is now the research that could make or break the assassination theory, I believe. And I'll be looking into it in the next couple of days. So all I can say is stay tuned. All the details will be coming out. We'll be pointing to the links you can go to watch this. Other evidence is coming out, who's posting it. But as far as I'm concerned, the people doing that research have changed the nature of the JFK assassination.
So I heard you're having Sean Stone, Oliver Stone's son, on the. You're doing an interview with him tomorrow as well, so you'll be able to ask him.
Yeah, when I did the show for Sci-Fi 2 years ago, Aliens on the Moon: The Truth Exposed, Sean had me on his show, and he has a talk show, and you'll be hearing all about it tomorrow. Sean, if everyone does not know, Sean Stone is the son of famous Oliver Stone, who made the movie JFK. That was the one feature film that put out the idea that it clearly was a conspiracy involving many levels of government. So be sure to tune in to that tomorrow when we have that posted.
Well, that's very interesting, Bob. I know there are many people who are looking forward to some more information about this and your great work research in this area, especially since you're an expert in the area and following this breaking news Mandela story.
I'm obsessed.
So there's another story that's just breaking. That's an amazing UFO event that took place in Arizona that you've been following and checking in with your news sources. So what's that about?
Yeah, the event happened in near Phoenix, basically. And the Phoenix Lights is one of the most amazing UFO sightings maybe on record in the modern day. And if people don't know about the Phoenix Lights, it happened in 1997, and it created a world sensation. And I covered it in one of my Fox specials, UFOs, Best Evidence Ever Caught on Tape. And that show, you can see that show to this day on Netflix, and you can see it on other venues. But overall, the event occurred where you had lights appearing and apparently forming what many people thought was the outline of a ship over a mountain range. The government later said those were flares. They didn't look like flares to everybody I spoke to and everyone we interviewed. Then there was also an event where these lights appeared apparently forming the shape of a triangle going through the state of Arizona back then, which no one was able to explain. The governor of Arizona absolutely went public years later and said it was indeed a massive UFO event involving a gigantic alien ship. He was sure aliens were real because of it. And that case became kind of mired in controversy for years. Just a few days ago, an event was captured near Gilbert, Arizona, that was covered on the local ABC affiliate, I believe it was the ABC affiliate, and they covered it. And it looks like these UFOs are appearing where a line appears, a little line of UFOs, and then one jumps in front of the other, and the other jumps in front of the other, and it became quite an interesting story around the internet. Well, I saw the video and I went right away. It looked like a piece of footage that was shot after the Phoenix Lights event in '97. About 9 years later, one of the same videographers who captured that a UFO hunter. That's what really what he is. Jeff Willis is a UFO hunter. And he literally videotaped an event that was almost identical to what that was captured over Gilbert just a few days ago. So when you watch the two events together side by side, it's got to be the same technology. If it's UFOs, they look like the same UFOs or the same aliens. So I think this is the case, the one over Gilbert, which is going to be a really good case now to look and compare to Phoenix and also that 2006 event shot by Jeff Willis, one of the same videographers. And we're gonna have really a lot of updates on this. And I got to tell you, be sure to tune in to our channel in the next few days and weeks, because this case is going to get really interesting.
Wow, that's great, Bob. And yeah, we really look forward to that. I've always been interested in the original Phoenix Lights investigation myself. But there is something else that you've been following. That's a breaking news story about some kind of weird sea monster. Anyway, can you fill us in on that?
Must have been really, really, really early yesterday. I was looking into just news stories, and sure enough, I saw a story about what looked like some kind of monster, like a sea serpent kind of monster, like a, like Loch Ness monster type creature, was videotaped in Alaska. And I couldn't quite get it, so I didn't understand what that was. So I looked into it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to call the people in the wildlife and game area of Alaska where this was filmed, and I'm just going to ask them, what was that? And sure enough, they told me. I had a very wonderful lady on the phone from the communications area of this division of Alaska's wildlife people, and she was very matter of fact. Oh, Bob, it was nothing more than a rope that was attached to a pier. And one of our employees took out his camera. He took a picture of it with the ice attached to it, and he thought it was interesting. And then he went back to that area a little while later, and the ice was gone. It melted. So he knew it was nothing. He saw it was a rope, and he knew it was nothing. Now, what happened was, Ed, it goes on all the time now in our internet world. Somebody thought it was a cool-looking picture. They put it up on a site I will not name, but the site is definitely known for creating the equivalent, I guess, of chain letters, if you will. Somebody passes one thing to one person, another passes it to another person, and they just keep running it. And so this just became a piece of interesting photography that somebody put on a site. Somebody that was hungry for news about the unknown and maybe what we call cryptozoology, which is what creatures are like, basically ran with the story and said it could well be a monster.
Oh, well, that's it, Bob, and I guess we'll wrap it up. Some great stories there, and thanks a lot for investigating them and bringing them to Esoteric Detective. And I guess we'll wrap it up there. So that's Bob, and I'm Ed, of course. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Take care, guys.